an amazing. Hey, everybody. We are at the top of the 3 o'clock Central Decide hour. Well, is it the top or the top of the end? I don't know how you say that, but we've filled, we did our action, we're full, and now we are getting an opportunity to mastermind on any action we took or thoughts that came up during the hour, any decisions we need to make. Um, and so I'll open the floor if there are any, and if not, I've got a thought that we can move forward with. But does anybody have a decision that they could use support with, or a question or comment about what came up for them in the last hour? Okay.
I have
Oh,
one. So I think because there were a lot of things that came and just focusing on doing one thing at a time, because it can be very easy to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this and this and this and then do nothing. So just kind of trusting and doing one thing at a time. Okay, great. Now do another thing and then another thing.
yeah. Almost like a little checklist, right? Yeah. Hmm. Cool. So is that kind of a technique you use, Alana? Is that something that helps you take action?
It does, because otherwise I get to be like a dog going squirrel, squirrel, shiny. Ooh, and then there's just multiple things on the list that don't get accomplished. So
Yeah. Yeah.
one thing at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, one thing at a time.
I love it. Anybody else have anything that came up that you could use some masterminding on? I think I love kind of where you went with that, Alana, is, when a lot does come up and there's some processing going on, making choices, that's one way, right, to move forward is to kind of here's some steps I can take, and then you can choose which one you want to do first. Any other thoughts come up for people when you're getting a lot of information thrown at you? What helps you sort and pivot like Angela pivoted during her hour?
I think like I experienced today, there was a pivot that it took me over my scheduled time, but it was for like greater good, for like just for expanding, right? And abundance. So um I was done with my lunch and I would have been back on time, but then somebody stopped me and I made the decision to talk to them and to give a woman who lost her son 2 weeks ago. Like I went down, I said, I just want to give you a hug. And she said, well, come here. I was like, okay. And so the decisions that knowing there are times like very much so, being on time, like starting on time, ending on time, like that is very important to us. And knowing that we hold the space for each other, to know that there's grace in that. So knowing, like, I even said, I'm like, I have a meeting that started at 2, and they're like, oh, you better go. I'm like, I'm going to finish this conversation. She's holding the space for me and I will be on my way. And so just in that, to be able to make the decision, to, yeah, in the moment.
Hmm. Yeah, I love the idea of like really the conscious awareness that went along with that. Um, and love you guys. Bye, Steph. Um, and that happened to me today too. I had the opportunity to go to lunch with my in-laws, and I went back and forth. Should I go, not go? And then all of a sudden, it was like, okay, what will I do with that time if I go home?
Yeah.
And and then I could decide, and that I could take this hour to spend with my in-laws and build that relationship.
Mhm.
So really processing the feelings that go along with the decision too, like what's important to me about this, um, and all of that. So good stuff. All right, I'm going to stop that recording if I can. And there it is. Okay.